It sounds like there's great work being done through this framework. I just wanted to connect the conversation to someone that we had last week, who's Harry Belafonte, very famous civil rights activist in the U.S. One of the things that he mentioned was that traditionally he kind of conceptualized philanthropy as the rich giving back to the poor as a means to kind of offset some of the social injustices that they have caused prior to that. Working in private enterprise and especially launching this investment arm with AIG, is that a criticism that you face often, and how do you respond to that?
Can you define what you mean by the criticism of what? I'm not sure.
The criticism of private enterprise capitalists in particular, kind of leading philanthropic initiatives to combat social injustice, which some people argue is in part manufactured by a class system created by capitalism itself.
Mm-hmm. Well, I would answer maybe in several points. First, I think, yes, there is a lot of uncomfort among the philanthropists with the notion of, receiving a return on the provision of social goods. So that's one point. Second point, the vehicle that I created within AIG was commercial. It was focused on double bottom line, impact investing, but we were hoping through private equity to achieve, good financial returns. And we did have a criticism saying that it was impact washing, that the financial institution just wanted to use it for the PR. Mm-hmm. But I think that at that point, it wasn't true. It was just a bunch of people who worked hard because they believe in it, and it was in a way very egoistic from my side because I felt very inspired with this idea. So for me, it was fantastic to work on it and push for it. Irrespective of what the organization was doing in other parts. And the fact that this commercial organization, which many said is not really prone to support it, has provided $150 million out of their balance sheet to support this initiative and was ready to increase it 3 times to do it, I think is great. So if we can move large commercial institutions to play in this field, still getting the financial returns, because without it, you cannot do it, then I think the impact will be tremendous. Important is that it becomes their core business, that it's not the corporate social responsibility on the side driven out of the marketing department, but they find ways to create new products for bottom of the pyramid, to drive their profitability and business life, and then it becomes impactful.
I think to complement what Julie has just said, I think the reality is that there is a spectrum of motivations, some of which we all might be more comfortable with and some of which less so. From the purely cynical window dressing, greenwashing, marketing, all the way through to very enlightened understanding of the fact that there is an enormous market out there that by and large is larger in number than our traditional Western consumptive markets, and therefore it's simply a commercial opportunity. Bringing it back to the sort of personal, speaking for myself, I noticed a tension at Aureus Capital, for example, where I felt that I was perhaps more of a believer in that side of the mission than my colleagues on the ground that were cutting the deals, as it were. But then I made peace with it in the following way, which was, if at the end of the day, between us, we are getting the dollars to move into these SMEs and to grow these SMEs, the fact that I might be more focused on generating as great social, environmental and governance impacts as possible, and they might be more focused on the financial engineering of the transaction and perhaps the ultimate return. Wasn't the sum greater than its parts, and didn't we get to a positive result that's promoting equity through social and public goods for all, as opposed to, in a sense, sitting in judgment that other motivations weren't perhaps as pure as hopefully mine were?